All right. Welcome to the quickie, creating our own printer driver for the Devoxx registration. I'm happy that there are a few people interested in such a niche topic. So I thought to rebrand it to Behind the Scenes of Devoxx. It's a bit behind the scenes though. So a bit of a history. So like 4 years ago, we decided to write our own software for the registration instead of depending on external firms to do the registration. It was with NFC the last 3 years. So this year is the first time we switched from technology. So this was our first setup. A lot of devices. Because the boot partners they need to scan your tag, and not all the phones had NFC readers. Today, even not today, every NFC and every Android phone has NFC in there. iOS does have NFC, but doesn't expose it locally. So we also always have to nag with partners. Can we borrow some device? So we're lucky that we had some devices from Google, but yeah, they switch every year. So last year were Pixels, so we had an external reader, so it was a bit of a pain. And also the technology, the tags that we used, they were not always reliable. So the first one you see here is the first one is from 2012, then 13, and then 14, and the antenna gets smaller and smaller. And you always notice too late when the batch of the 4,000 tags were delivered that, oh man, this will be a pain on the conference. So people that were here last year probably noticed that it was a real pain to tag and vote at the entrances. So we decided this year to do something completely different. Also, they didn't have a very high throughput in the entrance. So last year we still had a queue from the beginning of the Kinepolis Business Center till the Decathlon, and it was quite cold. And we were with 8 people and with 4 queues. So you know the interactions. You read the e-ticket. You do. You collect the correct wristband because the combi has another color than the uni. You wrote the tag. You put a wristband on. You locked it. So it was a real pain. So that combined with an unreliable NFC technology and the need of extra NFC-enabled devices was a real pain. So we decided this year to go classic. So going classic means just printing, just typical lanyards. Being conference, community-driven conference, we didn't want to drive up the price, so we looked for cheap solutions. So we found one, this one. It's like 150 euros. Not going to make advertising of it. That's the one we use now, 150 euros and 75 for the battery. So it's quite okay. It's not a regular device though, because a regular device costs thousands of euros. For 1,000 we can buy 6 or 7 of them. And we save anyway. But problem, okay, they have software, but baked in software for Android, iOS, but no SDK. So let's contact them. They promised an SDK by summer. It's now winter, no SDK. So we decided just not to trust this email and just go and write our own software. So bought a printer, 150 euro, that was okay. And then using their software, create some stupid test patterns like horizontal line, vertical lines, circles, crosses, whatever, and see what goes over the wire. People never done any wire tracking. There is a very good software for doing that. Well, good, it works fantastically, but the user interface is not that okay. But it's package sniffing, so user interface, that's not the main concern. And it's WireShark. It's available for Mac, Linux, Windows, whatever, but it works. So we took the dumps, a typical dump for a package, something like this. You can save it at disk. Luckily, it has some nicer formats, so you can use to to read it, more human readable. But this is more better to read from a computer. So we started to do the real test-driven development, because we have the dumps. So we have our upfront data, our test data, no code, typical good use case for test-driven development. So wrote a simple utility that reads those dumps, make a byte array out of it, and then let's write our own code. Seeing what goes over the wire, we see what was already Internet Printer Protocol. We can get some specs of that, so we started creating our own classes. And with those TDD approach, it was very, very ideal, and we had a very quick release cycle. So hey for TDD. And then before the next steering committee, we had to prove it. So I had my best user interface skills and created a very nice Android app to print one of those. So hey, it was approved. Let's go this year for printing. Then for Android framework, I wanted to do a nice approach. Instead of doing everything in the app, I wanted to be a nice citizen and use the Android framework because it has a built-in framework, not very popular. So why? But it's there, let's use it. So I investigated there. It's API level 19, so that's very good. Our device from last year, they were Android 4.4, so it's within the spec. So let's see in the documentation what you have to do there. You have to create a document adapter, very easy. You can get a document adapter. In that adapter, you say what's on the label. You get an on-write, and there you have a PDF. So PDF, that will be tricky. I don't want to learn any PDF specs. Devoxx is in November, so it was like April, May or something. I don't want to concern, but luckily there is support for PDF to write PDF from. You get a canvas there. And just write like any other regular bitmap. You just write on the canvas, and you have your PDF page. So that was very good news. That's then inside of your app. But let's now write our own Android service. Still okay. Write a service. Whenever an app writes something, we will get a print job in with that PDF job that was written in the other one. Within our app. So that's okay. Now we need to get a bitmap out there. Good news, there's something like a PDF renderer. You see, it's a lot of overhead, but still, yeah, we would like to have tried it and see if the overhead was not too big. So, but there was a big problem, and it was API level 21. And we don't want to throw away our devices from last year. So we just skipped this step, maybe for next year, because we are getting more and more KitKat level devices, or higher, or Marshmallow. So then we can go that route and give the old devices to sponsors if they need one. So plan B, time matters. So typically, we did what we already had before the research in the Android framework and just printed our stuff. Good news is, well, all those things, if you want to play with it and have a printer like that, or maybe something similar, just fetch it. This is the URL. It has the nice interface that I had with a button. So you can play, print. You just have to change your IP address of your printer. All those things are, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's all wireless. So all things you have to connect it to the Wi-Fi, your phone to the Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. So a bit the post NFC years. We're now Thursday, so we've been working with these printers from Sunday. We already have a bit of experience now, So what are lessons learned now? It has a very good high throughput. So by Wednesday, what is our peak day, when we have like an extra 1,000 attendees coming in on top of the uni or combi tickets we are already in. And we could, with 6 queues and only 6 persons, get the queue down to that people were almost never outside. If people were queuing till the decathlon, please let me know, because we think it wasn't. So that's also a very good positive. There are also a lot less post-registration stuff to do, because there were no tags that were not written anymore, or broken or empty or something. So that was less stress for me. And also, partners could use their own phones, because which phone couldn't read a QR code? Yeah, the one without a camera, but all smartphones have one. So that was a positive. There are still some negatives, though. We had some outages of the Wi-Fi. So when that happens, we're really screwed. You have like 6 queues, and they stop all simultaneously. So that's still a pain. We took the risk. We had a contingency plan, but yeah, luckily we didn't need it. And the prints are also not always that high quality, and it's also due to the Wi-Fi. If there were package losses or slowdowns or repeats, we had some empty lines. You could look at your badge. If you have empty lines, that was due to the network. And it are not rugged devices, so we had like already one that is completely total loss. So luckily, they're quite cheap, so it's still okay. Next year, we're certainly, if we go still to the print route, we're going to try to wire them up via USB and make sure that we are not relying on the Wi-Fi anymore. And also real-time diagnostics, because those cartridges, they run out of paper. It's 22 meters per cartridge. And I calculated it, it's like, if there were no reprints, we needed 150 meters of tape for everybody. But yeah, there are reprints, so I think in total we have 250 meters of tape used. So we'll see next year. Probably we'll go that route, because it's okay. So still some time left for questions. So anybody any questions? Okay. That's it. Thank you.